I'm recording in Wednesday of office hours. Someone had a great series of questions and then had to go real quick, but I wanted to share what we did with everyone because other people will have the same questions. We're looking at a few textbook problems that make a nice contrast with each other. In problem 83 in chapter 5, there is a hidden total. A lab technician is mixing some stuff that I'll pretend is red with some water that I'll pretend is blue. And we want to use part is what percent of whole, but the problem doesn't tell us the whole right away. We have to add up the 120 and the 80 to say that there's 200 milliliters of liquid in our container. So the whole number here we had to find. I did this one in translate method because that's what my student wanted a moment ago. You could use proportion if you prefer. Problem 88 is similar but different. Now it's the change that is hidden. Stock goes from 12.50 up to 50. So we have to figure out that the change is $37.50 with subtraction. Then we can do that change is what percent of the original, what percent of the baseline amount. And again, if you want proportion method, you could. Then we took a break and we found a useful formula, kind of a shortcut. If we're looking at parts and wholes, then it's going to be that the part is what percent of the whole. And when we translate, the is becomes equals, the of becomes multiply. We're always going to get y by itself with dividing by the whole. So we get part divided by whole is our percent. I'm even going to change this to say right in front of your eyes, percent. We are going to use that on our next slide. The textbook will ask you to do these little tables. At the top, it is always your item, the number of things of that kind, and what percent. And then at the bottom, the textbook always wants you to have a total. And then you'll have a total number of the items. And then you'll have the total percent is always 100%. But to me, that looks too busy. So I'm going to erase those shadings. So we were reading this problem after we made the table. So we drew the rectangle, we put item and number and percent. And we said, oh, okay, there's two categories, analyzed samples and not yet analyzed samples. 21 of them were analyzed and the total is 28. So we did some subtraction. 28 minus 21 is 7. Then we want the percent for each. And we could make percent sentences with 21 and the total of 28. 21 is what percent of 28? But since we had just found this pattern, part divided by whole, we're just going to do that. We're using the formula that we just found. So part divided by whole, and then riplop to make a percent. Part divided by whole, and then riplop to make a percent. So step 1 was to fill in the table as much as we had. Step 2 is the bottom row with the totals. And then step 3 is do the little filling in the spots that I wrote in yellow.